My name is Bill Wolf. I'm a marketing and management consultant with a specialty in local SEO as of 2020. I went full-time into my business about 9 months ago. Uh, I also have a local SEO course in the fulfillment section of SASO University. So if you are working with a local business and you want to try to get some better organic local traffic, check that out. Lots of good tips. The purpose of this session is to talk about the Semrush Site Audit. So I'm going to share my screen, and I have to make an affiliate disclosure because I am an affiliate of Semrush. So if you buy their stuff through my link, I might get paid. So that's enough of the legal mumbo jumbo. Give me 1 second here, and I'll keep the good times rolling. All right, I think you're seeing the site audit here, or the site audit webpage. And then I'm going to share the link in chat, which will actually let you get a Semrush account and try the site audit for free if you have a website that you kind of want to check out from a technical perspective. So I like to think of the site audit as kind of a second set of eyes. Like when I'm building web pages, like I'm very focused on making sure that I'm doing things kind of by the book, following all the guidance that I can that I put into the course. Everything that I teach, I've basically done in some capacity. So the site audit checks for, I think it's like 140 different technical factors. So it is easy to overlook things, and stuff happens. Um, and basically what they do is they give you a score and they say, here's your top issues. And you're going to have errors, warnings, notices, this percentage. I try to get a percentage 90% or higher out of the gate. And I actually don't have any sites published right now that have a score less than 90. And out of the box, it's typically closer to like a 96 or a 97. The reason it goes down is whenever you're doing something different on a new page, that new thing is just has a higher likelihood of breaking than something that's already there existing on another page. So you can see here the top 10% of websites on SEMrush have a 92% or better. This site has a 90%. And if you click this drop down, it actually tells you the average by industry. So you can see a lot of these industries don't have great technical audits. So running this report, it's just very clear about how badly things are broken. And errors are the most severe. Warnings are the second most severe type of issue. And notices, like you can fix them, but it's not going to move the needle as much as, say, a 500 error, which means the server was broken when the site audit tried to pull a page, or broken internal links, which is basically one page on your site trying to link to another, but the link is broken, doesn't actually go anywhere. So when you see something like this, you basically want to jump on it, fix it as soon as possible, and get that score back up, because the higher your technical score, the more likely your pages are to rank. Because if they're not available to the site audit, they're probably not available to a search engine like Google or Bing. So it makes sense to have a working website. It's basically what it comes down to. So there's a lot of depth here. I could probably talk about this tool and like how to fix different issues for probably a couple of hours. I'm going to try to keep it closer to half an hour, 45 minutes. So this is actually a former client of mine. They had a really high site health score, and now it went down in the last couple of audits. They actually have 3 new issues. So you can see there's a 500 error and the broken links. I actually checked that out. That's their sitemap. So it's possible that because they migrated the site, that they just changed the location of the sitemap. But as far as the site audit tool goes, it basically knew where my sitemap was, and now it's not there, so it's throwing errors. And actually calls it out specifically as a warning. Low text to HTML ratio. There's HTML code, there's JavaScript. It's basically comparing how much code there is on your front end web pages compared to actual text. It can be a warning sign, but I'll tell you, when you're using a site builder like Elementor or uh, just any kind of advanced theme, like you're probably going to have a lower text to HTML ratio on most of your pages because those page builders just do things in a cookie cutter kind of way. It's not always the very most efficient, but you can kind of offset any impact from that. It's basically about file size. So if you have a good CDN, you have a good web host like WPEngine, a good CDN behind it, you don't really have too much to worry about there. Um, So you can see there's like here in the middle there's thematic reports that basically give you individual scores for different types of technical issues. Crawlability is the ability for the site audit to uh, basically navigate your entire site and get to all of your pages. If something gets flagged for crawlability, it probably means something isn't accessible that probably should be. In this case, the sitemap. HTTPS, that's the secure connection to a website. That will tell you if there's some kind of technical problem with your SSL, whether it's just not working, it's you don't have a certificate applied, it's expired, all that's going to come up there. International SEO, to be honest with you, I don't have enough experience with it to really talk about what's going to show up there. I don't have it on any of my sites. Site performance is basically uh, page size, load speeds, compression issues, and you can see here most of these pages are loading pretty quickly. Internal linking is similar to crawlability, but it's specifically about uh, internal links. So the only one that got flagged on this site is broken internal links. That's the site map. So there's a link to the site map. It's not working. So it got flagged here. But it's just another technical indicator. Like you don't want broken links on your site, period. And this is going to tell you so you can go fix them. And you can see there's just so many different things here. And it actually tells you, like, if you mouse over learn more, it'll tell you like what the issue actually represents and kind of the steps that you should take to diagnose and fix it. Then we have Core Web Vitals. So this is Google's kind of page speed um, optimization grader. There are three key metrics here. So you have largest contentful paint, the LCP. There's descriptions here, but this one is basically the time it takes to load the largest block of content on your page. Typically, it's going to be like your hero image in your header. It's about load time. Then you have total blocking time, which is how long it takes before the pages can actually be interacted with. And cumulative layout shift is basically, you know how like when a page is loading, like things are like jittering around? That's CLS. And all of these get combined into a Core Web Vitals score. And a lot of SEOs will like swear by the fact that if you don't have great Core Web Vitals, your website is not going to do good. And I don't believe it. And I'll tell you, like, and this is a mobile site audit. You can do them on desktop too. Um, Pretty much all of my mobile sites have lower Core Web Vitals than the desktop versions, and it's probably mostly because of file sizes. So I can go through and like optimize images and make it make things load like a couple seconds faster. Basically, anything for mobile, 5 seconds or less, it's not going to be that big of a deal. And you can see down here in this table, it's actually a small site, it's a one pager, but it tells you, like, if you have multiple pages, you'll have them listed here, and then you'll be able to see like which metrics are good, green, or red, bad, at a glance. So you can kind of see like if there is like a severe page load speed issue, you should be able to look at this and say, 10, 15 seconds, that's pretty bad. I need to fix that. Any questions about the site audit? I can go on to another one. All right. So this is actually the web page that site audit ran on. So you can see it's very clean. Like there's not a lot of just random stuff all over the place. Everything kind of has a purpose and a place. And not to mention the links all work. So uh, that's how we end up with a pretty decent site audit score, keeping in mind that it dropped down to a 90 after it got migrated to a new host under a different provider. So we're just going to take a quick look at this one and the issues that came up. This is Stump Raider. Somebody in the SASO group actually provided this one as a reference point. It actually turned out really good. And if you look at the website, you can see like it follows kind of the same design principles as the Elysium Massage. It's really I don't want to say minimalist, but there's not a lot of stuff that can break here. Now, some of the issues that they do want to resolve are missing title tags. It says there's one here, and if you click on the one, it'll actually take you to the specific page that doesn't have a title tag. And if you're not sure what a title tag is, if you mouse over the tab, it'll show you what the title is, and that would be in the HTML title tag. But this doesn't have one. This page does not have a title tag, so even though Google rewrites those over half the time, it still looks at the content. So if you're not putting like local keywords in your title tag, you're basically missing an opportunity to tell Google like, hey, here's the relevant service and service area. So that's a big one. I'd fix that ASAP. Missing meta description isn't as severe, but you still want the opportunity to kind of talk about what the web page is and try to convince somebody to click on it. That's what you would see in the search engine results on Google, like under the link, that's the meta description. So not having one of those, Google is just automatically going to create their own, and it's probably not going to be as nice to look at. There's a missing H1. That's actually one of my pet peeves as a website developer. So I just right-clicked on this page. I'm going to hit View Source. I don't know if anybody's ever done this before, but I'm going to search for an H1 tag. So you can see there I typed in the less than symbol H1, and there's nothing. But there is an H2. But that basically makes this an improperly structured website, improperly structured web page, because every web page, if you have a heading, should start with an H1. So that would be decimate your stumps, reclaim your yard. You want to throw keywords in there, obviously. So it's just another opportunity to tell Google what your content's about. So it makes sense to have that marked up correctly. Low text to HTML ratio, like I said, it's not something I worry about too much. Missing alt attributes is actually an accessibility issue and an SEO issue. So the alt attribute is basically the text used to describe an image, so that when an image shows up on a web page and somebody has a vision disability, their screen reader, which reads the page to them when it gets to an image, will read the alt text for the image to them instead of saying, oh, here's an image. Put all alt attributes on your images. Any questions about that one? We're going to have some fun. Hope everybody's ready. I'm having a great time. Awesome. So this is another one provided by the group. We have a site health score of 80%. There's 144 errors on 319 pages, 1,100 warnings, and 1,100 notices, approximately. So we're not going to be able to go over this whole thing, but I'm just going to show you the website. So the first thing I noticed here was there's a loading window. Instead of just loading the web page, whoever designed the site said we're going to have a progress bar to say that the page is loading instead of just making it load. That's mistake number one. You can see there's some complexity in the menu here. Like, this is a lot. I would even say it might make sense to consolidate these into smaller groups. It might be Squarespace. I don't know. I know a lot of those web page builders outside of WordPress just make absolutely horrendous code, and they kind of encourage people to make bad decisions. But this site is actually really old. You can see they have blogs going back to 2016. So just imagine how many times responsibility for this site has changed from developer to developer, many of whom probably had no SEO focus whatsoever. They were just building a web page. So all these things have basically stacked up. They have duplicate content, which that's one of the worst things you can have in SEO. It's basically the way Semrush flags it is if 80% of the content on a page matches 85% of the content on another page, it's duplicate. So there's no reason for that. There's no way that you're offering value by having the exact same content on one page as you do another. Typically, it's a ploy to rank. I see it a lot with uh, service area pages where people just make pages for a specific city for a service and then make the exact same page for another city, but with the same content. There's nothing new. It's just duplicate content. So I'm glad that got flagged as a top issue because that's not something that should be happening. Same with duplicate title tags. Title tags should be describing the page, and there's no way that you should have duplicate title tags and not have duplicate content. So title tags should be kind of redone to describe the content on those pages. Broken internal images. This is a good one. That basically means images are being used on their pages. They're being referenced. They're saying in their code, hey, there's an image here, but the image doesn't exist. And you can actually see it's basically the same image. Like they linked to this a whole bunch of times. The 404 means it's not found. So if we pull up this web page, just click the go to button. And then I'm going to take the URL of the image. We're going to inspect the code here. Did I open the right page? I'm just going to redo that real quick. Oh, it's the page. So obviously the image is not there. If we look at the source code on the page and we look for that URL, why is it not coming up? Whatever can go wrong will, that's why. Okay, so I figured that out. Basically what they're doing is they're referencing image slash 3011 slash 400 without putting in the full URL. And that's perfectly fine. It's very common to just reference the location of the image. So in this case, I'm actually going to hit F12 to pull up the developer tools. and kind of do the same thing. I'm going to look for that where that image is being referenced. So it's right here. So that they have this image, and you can see when you mouse over it, it looks like there was an image there, but it's no longer on the server probably, so it just doesn't exist. So whoever runs the site would want to go back, uh, run through the site audit, see which pages are referencing this image. It looks like they have quite a few of them, and then either put the image back or remove that reference. And you can see their internal linking is pretty bad. So if we pull that up, they have 131 pages that are more than 3 clicks deep. So that's being from the home page, click on a menu item, and then click on another link from there, and then click on another link, and then they have 131 pages beyond 3 clicks deep. So basically nobody's ever going to find them. They also have resources formatted as page links or as a page link. Typically resources are like uh, probably script files or CSS or think of things that users typically don't see. 526 of those. So I'm not going to get into uh, why that's going on for them, but I'll stick to errors and warnings. But you can see that they're catching broken external links here because even though you're linking to somebody else's content, which is good to do, like if it's a good reference, link to somebody else's page. Like it's basically a vote of confidence. It helps them out, and it should help the people using your site because then they get to find what they're looking for. They have 18 of them. So what they should do is go to these pages, find these links, and uh, fix them. Either point to the right resource, get rid of the links, or find new places to link to. Uh, but all this is doing when these issues exist is it's basically telling the search engine, uh, we're not doing a great job of maintaining the site. And if I was running a site on it for this site over the course of months or years, over the last several years, you would probably see that these issues probably existed for a long time. Incorrect pages found in sitemap. I haven't actually looked into that one. Um, basically, like the gist of this, just me scanning the description real quick, is basically saying the sitemap is linking to pages that people just shouldn't be going to. Like they're not accessible, or there's just nothing there for a human being to look at. Any questions about that one? All right, let's look at a GHL site. I've noticed a trend. Uh, Alec, you're gonna hate me for this, but GHL's page builder is not very friendly when it comes to technical SEO. And I mean, anytime somebody's using a site builder outside of like an established platform like WordPress, like there's going to be issues. Like I know GoDaddy's site builder is uh, definitely not much better than GHL. GHL's website builder actually might be better than GoDaddy's, to be honest with you. But there's so much stuff like right out of the box that it's either easy to break or it's easy to not know that you broke something. And yeah, WordPress and Elementor is like always my recommendation. It's super easy to just make something out of the box and have a great site audit as long as you're paying attention to like what you're doing on those pages. So top issues, missing title tags. So If you have a place to change your title tags, change them. 400 errors, that basically means that these pages are not accessible. They're 400 is typically an access issue. So I'm just going to pull up all 4 of these real quick to see how they go.
Can I ask a question, Bill? Because I don't know if we ever talked about this, but if I get a 404, is it delete the page and then re-index it, or it indexes by itself based on whatever I have in my setup?
So if a page is 404, like in this case, they have mountainscholars.com/education insights. That means that if you go to this page, it does not exist. So you basically have 2 options here. Either redirect it because it was recognized as a 404, that means something was linking to it or it existed previously. So either recreate it under with the name education insights, the exact same name. If like consider case sensitivity, make sure it's all lowercase, or redirect this whole URL to another page. Then you don't have a 404 anymore because when you go to that page, you go somewhere else. It would be a 301 permanent redirect.
Okay.
Duplicate title tags, I think we talked about that one. Basically want to make those unique. Broken internal links, I'm just interested to see what's in here. So this is interesting. You basically have on multiple pages, which tells me it's probably in the header or footer where we're linking to mountainscholars.com/www.mountainscholars.com. So I'll tell you what probably happened here was there's a place to put the URL for the page that you're linking to, and they probably linked to www.mountainscholars.com, and the website builder basically crapped out and thought that this was an extension of mountainscholars.com. So the way around that would be to say the link is https://www.mountainscholars.com. I'm not going to go over every example here because it's basically the same thing. It's a page linking to another page, and that page in this broken link URL does not exist. So it just needs to be updated. It's really about offering a quality experience, not just to the search engine so that it can find what it's looking for, but so that people can find what they're looking for. Because if you go to these pages and you click on those links, you're just going to have a bad time. It's going to be like, oh, 404. That doesn't help anybody. So I'm going to go into a couple of configuration items. Whenever you're first creating a site audit, you can see here it's under the on-page / tech SEO section. You go site audit. You basically name the project, which I typically put in as my client name, and the URL. Alec, my Semrush subscription fee is about $410 a month, but I also use their AI video creator where I get 10 AI generated videos a month, and I have like 8 local map rank trackers, which are like $10 a month on top of like I think like the $30 a month just to get the first location. I'm on the guru plan, if that helps. Anyways, if you want to reconfigure a site audit outside of the initial configuration, just hit this gear. I'm just going to hit subdomain, and it'll take you to the options. So default's 100 pages. Obviously, you're going to have to crank this up if it's a bigger site. Most of the sites I've worked on are either under 100 or under 1,000. Crawl source website, it's just going to take the home page. You can use the sitemap URL if you have it. You can use the sitemaps that get found, but that's not necessarily reliable because some sites just don't specify where their sitemap is for some reason. Or you can just use the list of URLs from a file. And if you set it up to send an email every time an audit's complete, you will be pulling your hair out. This isn't something that you want to do. Well, it's something you probably want to run daily or weekly, but you don't want to get notified every time. You just want to plan to look at these. I look at them more than I should, or I at least glance at them, but looking and like actually digging into them once a month is probably a lot. Um, unless you have like new errors popping up. If there's nothing new, uh, you could do like a quarterly deep dive and just try to resolve everything you can and just move on from there. Crawler settings, these are default except for JS rendering. I started turning this on because it actually gives like the true representation of what's presented to the user. Because if you turn off JS rendering, like if content is rendered by JavaScript, leaving this disabled, you're not like the site audit isn't going to consider that content. So it's basically allowing you to get like the most accurate reading possible. And user agent, I just use Sitebot or Site Audit Bot mobile. If you did desktop, you're probably going to get better results because most sites are built specifically for desktop at a minimum, and then mobile friendliness like an afterthought. I always try to do both at the same time, but uh, mobile is still very much not very high on a lot of people's priority lists, even though it should be. Um, allow disallow URLs. That's pretty self-explanatory. That basically enables you to specify specific pages that you do and don't want site audit to look at. This is about site parameters. It's kind of advanced. You can basically see here in the query string, filter by color equals blue. Those could be treated as separate pages if there are a lot of links to pages with different query strings, even though it's still just close. If you put filter by color in here, it won't return those extra results. So bypassing is basically saying uh, if you have your site configured to not allow uh, bots to crawl it, uh, you can basically enable that function here for the site audit to run, even if you're not allowing other bots to crawl your site. And you can also add credentials if needed. Then you can do the schedule. So like I said, running it daily or weekly is ideal, but I wouldn't like actually dig into it more than once a month at the most. There's a rerun campaign button, so you can actually go through, make whatever changes you need to make. Say you think you resolved like 10 or 20 errors and you want to take a look at it, hit rerun campaign. It'll just go back through, uh, recrawl all the pages and give you a new score, hopefully a higher one. And then some of you might have gotten a PDF report from me. So if you click PDF here, you can email it and there's a template. So you can just do the overview, which is the screen we're on, or the full audit report where it will actually dig into the individual issues, like the individual pages that are affected and whether it's a link or an image that needs to be corrected. It basically gives you everything. So you can export that to a PDF and then send it to a client or a contractor who's maybe going to do some work to fix some of these errors. It's just really handy to be able to dump that and send it wherever it needs to go. So I think I made time here. Did anybody else have any more questions about the site audit? Cool. How about questions about local SEO? Have I sufficiently bored everybody tonight?
No, I'm not bored.
Oh, good.
But I feel like I've like you did a site audit for me, and so I feel like I've been working a lot on that. And I love Semrush. I don't know. I know you and I have had like a brief conversation about this, but only because it's my own account, my own business account. But can you just like give me maybe can I ask like the pros and cons of your thoughts on just the whole search atlas? Because I am at this point doing it on my own.
Yeah, so Search Atlas is just like any other tool. It's a tool. So if you use AI to like write a blog, you wouldn't just take that blog and publish it and say, "Hey, I published a blog." You'd actually read it, do some editing, maybe reprompt a couple of paragraphs or sections just to make it uh, better, publishable. It's probably a better word. Um, so as far as like at Search Atlas goes, I mean, it's just another tool. It tells you what's wrong. It says that it can go in and automatically correct stuff. I don't know how comfortable I would be with a third party tool just coming into one of my sites and just doing whatever it freaking pleases.
Mhm.
Um, if it does something like a site audit where it's like, hey, you should do these things, it's not a bad idea.
I
SEMrush
think,
is SEMrush is
oh,
absolutely like on the higher end of the price scale. You're getting a lot of uh really good or great research tools as far as like competitor research, keywords, backlinks. You have the local map tracking. Uh, it's just like they have like on page recommendations, like where they'll say, "Oh, you should write about this topic, or you should include these keywords, or add this markup to improve your chances of ranking." There's just so much in here, and a lot of it actually has like local capabilities. That's why I'm all about it. As far as like SEMrush for an individual, like one site, like it's getting up there. Like I think it's probably starting out like I want to say 120.
I think it's 120, 139, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I do love that. Sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt you. I
you're fine.
do love SEMrush and I do like monitor what's free. And I think I pay for a couple of things as well, not the full package. And I also agree with you. I'm not 100% sure that I love the idea that Search Atlas can just go in and, I mean, I have to approve it, but just having that piece of it makes me nervous.
Yeah,
And
what if there's a software bug and like it says it's gonna do one thing and it does something else?
yeah,
What's how do you like you still have to audit that. You still have to make sure it's doing what it says it's gonna do. Otherwise, like you could end up with junk on your page and then you wonder why you're ranking tanks for that page because it got messed with.
well, and also I was a little afraid of it because I was thinking, what happens when it does break? Like, what does that rabbit hole look like? Is it something I want to do?
That's why I don't use it.
Yeah,
That's why like like I said, I love AI. It's a fantastic tool for a lot of the use cases when it comes to like digital marketing. But the best performing content, there have actually been studies done about this. Like Neil Patel has one that shows the comparison of I think it's conversion rates between AI content, human created content, and AI content that has been edited by humans. And I'm pretty sure AI content that's edited by humans has the edge.
yeah,
I think it's always going like I can't say it's always going to be like that. I just don't think AI has progressed to the point where we can just let it do whatever it wants and call it good. I
yeah,
mean, go to an AI tool and tell it to write a social media post for whatever you want the post to be about. And then would you take that output and just throw it into social media and like away we go? And then imagine doing that scale, do that 20 times. Is
yeah.
that reliable? Like are you gonna get a good result?
I agree. All right, I was just curious. I wanted to pick your brain about that.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good question. And I'm not like I'm not at all upset by it. I'm just very passionate about doing right, like doing right by my customers, but also getting great results. And you just kind of have to find a happy medium. Assad, I don't have a Webflow site handy, so I couldn't really tell you uh, how the SEO works, to be honest with you. Um, you have a free site audit, so if you have a Webflow site, you can kind of use that with your free trial. Just plug in the URL, give it the parameters, and then you'll get your own report if you're using Webflow. I've seen it used by like bigger companies, especially in software. So I don't think it can be that bad. Anybody else got anything? Cool. Uh, Alec,
Yo.
I'm gonna take this recording and try to chop it up a little bit, and we can throw it in the local SEO course. Uh, I'd love to do something on like Google Search Console and Google Analytics to kind of shore up that training so that everybody can do a little bit better about like tracking the the things that I've taught. So we can plan on doing that for our next one.
Yeah, that'd be good. No more questions for Bill before he wraps up. Do you ever do anything with Tag Manager?
No, I've heard of it. I'm probably a terrible marketing manager for not getting into it. It just I never needed to. And tracking is one of the things that are probably like the least appealing about my service because it's not about recording calls and figuring out where every single lead came from. My clients are making under $1 million in revenue. They're hiring me so that they don't have to deal with their marketing. So there's really one good barometer of whether what I'm doing is working or not, whether it's SEO or ads or offline marketing, whatever. And that is, are they getting leads? And are those leads actually wanting to buy from them or at least interested in their services? Like I can track calls in Google Business Profile. I can look at clicks in Google Search Console. I can see like engagement times, and none of that really matters if nobody's actually contacting the business. So I I charge people for reporting, but it's like $50 a month to do like a local rank tracking report and overview it and kind of like say, look, everything is trending in the right direction for me, but the question is, how's it going for my client? Like, is their business actually getting what they need from my service?